Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your magic moon message. Moon in Virgo, Sun in Libra. We are concluding this Libra season transit, which, pretty much flew by really quickly. Expect an extended magic moon message today, if not tomorrow. What this moon in Virgo represents, ladies and gentlemen, is the conclusion of a 2-week arc that we kicked off with the full moon eclipse in Aries. Now, for those of you who have been watching me regularly, you can actually vouch for the fact that there is video footage of me multiple times. I know I'm probably not the only one who can actually do the math, right? Because I don't let my subjective opinions come into mundane astrological interpretations. I don't be taking sides. I don't be like, I want this or that to happen. I'll give you my ideas and beliefs, but I will put the science first. The basis of all these calculations are all cycles, mathematical cycles. We talk about the 180 degree oppositions, the 90 and 270 degree squares. I just like to keep it real. I like to keep it true. All right, cool. So you will see evidence of, I'm probably not the only one, but I've made it very clear that this eclipse cycle is the road to war. Okay, this 6-month arc. I know I mentioned it in my monthly peace report for Libra season. I know I've mentioned it in the last Magic Moon extended message that I have. I know I've mentioned it in so many previous Magic Moon messages that the 6-month arc from new moon in Libra to now Aries season in March 2024 is the 6-month arc to war, the road to war. Okay, I also made sure to mention that even in the previous moon messages I've done, like, you're probably going to hear evidence of conventional warfare. Don't get distracted by that. This is about the war on you. This is about the war to maintain authenticity in your character. I made sure to mention that the full moon in Aries to the new moon in Libra is a 2-week preparation for this 6-month arc. And of course, since then, you see on the news this declaration of war and things escalating, and now Russia might be aligning with Palestine and or at least helping out the Middle East issue, America siding with Israel. So I'm not really here to speculate on that. I actually really just want to double down and say this is the road to war. Okay, there's no escaping this. Neptune was in Aries and Uranus was in Gemini, Civil War I. Pluto was in Capricorn and leaving Capricorn, the First Revolutionary War. We have both of these aspects coming back together. It's a replication of a cycle. Some kind of conflict is inevitable. I'm once again doubling down to tell you that relative and based off on this, okay, do not get distracted by the media. Do not get distracted by people who tell you how you should act based off of what misleading, inconclusive media narratives are going to want to force to tell you, whether through virtue signaling or basically not respecting your ability and utility to have your own personal opinion and force you to pick sides amongst other things, because this is going to intensify over the next 6 months. I told you that the 2 weeks from the full moon to the new moon in Libra was going to be met with more psychic attack than you have ever experienced in the past decade, because you are harvesting your super self. And before the new moon in Libra, where we activate this new cycle of cardinal action expressing what we just unlocked as far as our super expression of self, referencing the first 4 zodiac signs of originality, and then the socials, the supers. Your super self is the version of your original identity that you express socially, like Peter Parker expresses Spider-Man, okay? Spider-Man has a whole costume. That's his super self, okay? You are literally on the verge right now of activating the full unlocking of this super self as we step into this new moon in Libra, which now marks 6 months of evolution since the Sun, Jupiter, Aries conjunct we had in April. This has to be the biggest piece of news you're receiving. Bigger than anything else you're going to hear that is telling you about what's relevant. A lot of stuff you see on the news that you think is relevant isn't relevant, even if you see it play out in your 3D reality, because that's not where it originated from. All right, I'm not necessarily trying to preach anything. I just want to once again maintain this, because things are not as they seem, especially with Neptune and Saturn still in Pisces. A lot of these narratives are completely manufactured from behind the scenes, and you're going to believe it because you believe what you see. But seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing. That being said, okay, this moon in Virgo is transcending and releasing old unconscious habits that no longer align, because you have now activated new habits. This is the first moon in Virgo transit we are having since last moon in Virgo, where, you guessed it, we had the new moon in Virgo. We had officially activated new behavioral patterns that take into the evolved nature of our original characters, so that we can integrate supernatural techniques and abilities. That's why I want to come outside of this. And abilities into how, Virgo, we express our presentation of self, Libra. Okay, so now since then, we've activated that cycle. We integrated it coming in the Libra season to apply these new habits to the definition of our super selves. All right, that new moon in Virgo applied this activation of receipts that we gathered into Libra season, where we presented those receipts. Then we harvested this completion of our super self, reached completion with moon in Cancer, and now that we're in the completion arc, we're getting ready to activate new moon Libra as we go into Scorpio season, part 2 of not only the I Told You So tour, but also breakthrough season, the breakthrough arc, season 3. All right, and this, of course, is always the most lit part of the year. Sometimes it's season 1, it depends on the patterns, really, but like, yeah, y'all, Scorpio season is going to bring so much unconventional intensification of everything that the first part of this season established. The cardinal season sets the tone, and then the fixed sign intensifies the tone set. And the reason why we have to look at that is Scorpio season is going to bring us oppositions to Uranus and Jupiter after we end Libra season with the square to Pluto. So if you don't think that shit's about to hit the fan, I don't know what to tell you. That's why I have to remind you that before any of this came up, I was telling you road to war. And look at where we're at. Okay, so that's not for you to look at me as some kind of prophet. I did not use psychic abilities to do this. I just used mathematics, y'all. I just used mathematics, the thing that your education system and scientists are lying to you about, that is pseudoscientific, that's actually scientific. That's all I use. That's why I don't fucking miss. Okay, so with that being said, for the weekly predictions on Twitter, that's psychic. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, as we continue to look at this math, this opposition is going to very much so complete the evolution cycle that was kicked off in April, which means the rest of this Libra season is the final point of integration to lead us towards this level of completion. And this is where now, coming into the moon in Virgo, relative to that new moon in Virgo that initiated and activated these new behavioral patterns, well, now that you've already activated it, it's time to release old patterns that no longer apply, because you already activated new patterns. And this is what's going to help you understand, relative to the expression of your super self, mainly how much you've grown, how your behaviors have shifted to now align. You know what I'm saying? You're no longer behaving as Peter Parker, who wasn't bitten by that spider. Now you're behaving as Spider-Man. And now you're understanding how the way you behave as Spider-Man now releases old doubts about who you felt you used to be. And so for all intents and purposes, this is one of the most important balsamic phases that we will ever have. Everything about Virgo is plot twist. And in the dark of the moon, what's the moon going to oppose? Neptune and Saturn. That opposition to Saturn at the beginning of the transit, conjunct Venus in Virgo, is very, 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 very important, because this is going to really make super, 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 super clear the advent of those who want to react to ideas versus those who actually operate off on truth. Especially in the dark of this moon, where facts could be manipulated to look a certain way, with the fog and obscurification of Pisces in out of integrity, hence the opposition to Saturn. If integrity is maintained, this will definitely enable you to connect with Venus here, that social element of the heart, to polish everything quite masterfully. But you want to be very mindful, because we don't live in a perfect world. And if people can lie just so that they can steer public opinion towards one side or another, it's already happening. Okay, so this is going to be very dramatic, guys. This balsamic phase, as it goes over Neptune, is going to help you understand what about certain perceptions need to be adjusted so that it could align more with what's real, which means there's a lot of things that look a certain way and will feel a certain way that's not what it is at all. And if people can kind of maintain that misleading, enough decisions will be made in that short amount of time. So don't necessarily react to what you see. Certain things that you see as facts, you're going to gain greater insight into what it means after the fact. So just don't be too quick to react. You can see a fact that means the opposite of what it's being presented as, is basically my point. And because of that opposition of Pisces, this is what's going to also help you understand the heel turns and the nature of the plot twist that has already been enacted since last month. All right, last month was the plot twist. This month right now is you understanding the effects of that twist and how it will now transcend and now change the direction of your character. Because now, once again, just to keep in mind, the whole nature and notion of a mutable sign transit adjusts your perception so that when you step into the cardinal, you know what direction to take that cardinality, because you now came from this change of perception. And Virgo is making sure you understand the mastery of the understanding of the analysis of the super self character you're getting ready to activate moving forward. Alrighty. So, before I dox myself, with that being said, okie dokie, had to give you the mini tour. I wanted to get the math out the way because, bearing all that in mind, we have to remember that this is off of the heels of your awakening. And the moon that's going to be opposing Saturn and Neptune will help bridge the metaphysical and the physical. But the trine, right, that 120-degree angle to Uranus and Jupiter is going to now begin to expand the integration of how much more real you can physically experience the awakening of greater strength in how you harness your energy. And this is what's going to make obsolete during the next 2 days a way of doing certain things socially with others or expressing yourself that moving forward, coming to the new moon, you will never do again because you've leveled up how you do it. And that's an analogy for saying more evidence, more real evidence with this grand earth trine of powers coming in, but now learning how to integrate it so that you make it more practically applicable to what you're living. Stay woke, y'all, and do not give in to fear and BS. Once we step into that new moon in Libra, it is officially the road to war. It is officially the playoffs. So this is going to let you know how to really practice for that level of presentation. And in this last minute practice, you'll know what you no longer need to move forward with. You be willing to release. I don't know what the hell this is. All right. You guys stay blessed as always. Godspeed. Don't fear the boogeyman, and Don't fear those who operate in the shadows. Only those in league with Satan need to hide information. So the message that I'm channeling right now is the people who really gained a lot from operating in the dark and deceiving people, their time is up. They know their time is up. They're freaking out, and it's your time to shine.